Most people's life stories are lost forever, but yours doesn't have to be. For this series of life stories, I'm extremely excited to have a mother and daughter here today. Betorah has written a book about Robin's journey with cancer, from diagnosis to treatment to, we're hoping, recovery. So before we get started, I'd like to have you tell a little bit about your life right now, and introduce yourselves with your first and last name, please.
Okay. Hello, I'm Betorah Lianos, and I wrote the book for kids who have or are going through a similar experience, and for them to know that they're not alone in whatever journey they have.
What a great, story. And Robin?
I'm Robin Lianos, Betorah's mom. I don't know what else to say.
And where do you people currently live?
We live in Franklin, Massachusetts.
Have you lived there all your life? How long have you lived there?
7 years. We've been in Franklin 7 years.
Oh, where were you before that?
Rentham.
Rentham? Oh, okay. And your name's an unusual name. What is your background?
My husband's Greek.
Oh, your husband's Greek.
My husband's Greek.
All right. Were you born here in this area? Was he?
I was born in Holliston.
Oh, you were?
I was raised in Holliston.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's very local. And Betorah, so let me ask you, what prompted you, or who motivated you to write this book besides your mother's condition?
Well, it first started off as more like a journal with practically no beginning nor end, and we kind of just broke it off into pieces, and sometimes we add how do I say this? We basically created giant spaces to mark the pages, and then we figured out.
Yeah, because it's a long process going through the journey of being diagnosed and treated, and that takes quite a long period. Did you had you ever written anything before?
Not necessarily, but for school assignments, I would write 4 paragraphs and be done with it. So at the time that I wrote this, as a journal, it was quite a long thing for me to actually write, and that part made me better at spelling, definitely.
Oh, that's good. And I'm sure, did your teachers help you at all? Did you write your journal with this at school, or was this outside of the school venue?
It was very rare for me to if I had space or extra time during school, I would definitely write it. If we had indoor recess during elementary school, I would definitely start writing it if we were allowed to use Chromebooks.
Well, I've read it, and I think it is just an amazing book. I think it would help any child to read this book. In a few minutes, I'm going to have you read excerpts of it, but I want us to talk about the process. And I was particularly interested in your calling your process, or during your journey, Team Teal. You want to tell people how that happened? I won't have you read that part, but how that occurred.
Well, when we found out when Mom was sick, and we didn't really know it, and as soon as we found out, I just started making tons of posters at school, and I would bring them home, and then I'd give them to Mom, and Mom would hang them all over the fridge, on the walls, in the hallways. And then we finally decided on the name that we called it, and we called it Team Teal.
Oh, great.
Teal stands for the color of the ribbon. And she would every day. She had such a struggle at school, going to school and having a hard time emotionally at school, especially if she knew that I was going to go to Dana-Farber or have a doctor's appointment. She'd really struggle through the day at school. And her teachers encouraged her, well, why don't we make a card for Mom? So when you go home, you can give Mom a card. Or make a drawing for Mom. That was their way of helping her cope, because she really had no coping skills at all when this whole thing started.
Well, when you're first diagnosed with that diagnosis, it is overwhelming to everybody in the whole family. But what I love most about I love lots of things about your book, but I do think that the colors and the drawings. I wanted you to tell me a little bit about who was the person that you found that made all these wonderful drawings of your story.
Well, we don't know much about the person who drew the drawings, but I do know that we gave them some images like base reference, and they did the rest. They did the colorings, so it's like semi-realistic, except with more cartoon.
Yeah, we hired someone to do the illustrations for the book.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
At the time, I didn't know how to draw.
Yeah.
So.
And how easy was it? I mean, this book is so great for kids, and I think it would be nice to have it in all. Do they have it in libraries or have it in bookstores? So tell me a little bit about how you went about getting this published.
We did self-publishing.
Oh, okay.
Which is a very daunting process. I really don't recommend it, especially for children authors. That you should find a publisher that is interested in children and interested in children's writing and children's books. Who
did you find to do yours?
We went through Exuberous.
Oh, okay.
It's a self-publishing company.
I've never heard of them, but I'm not in the writing business. Yeah, go ahead.
We're having trouble getting the book placed into like Barnes and Nobles, because you need so many sales in books with the same book before they'll even recognize your book as being acceptable into Barnes and Noble. I don't know what else to say. The process was very hard emotionally.
And that's tough because you've already been going through a lot of, I know it's a very difficult situation to deal with. So you were able to find an illustrator, and it's really beautiful. The other thing I found in your book that I thought that was really interesting, you must have an extremely supportive family. That this part where you wrote about everybody shaving their heads before your mom had the chemo. Yeah. How did this come about?
Well, when Mom wanted a mohawk before she lost all of her hair. So so everyone came over, we cooked a bunch of food, and at the end of the day we're like, you know what? Let's dye her hair teal. Let's give Mom a mohawk that she always wanted. So here we go, starting to shave Mom's head, and Uncle Ricky's like, why don't we shave ours? So he shaves his head, and it was really funny.
It was.
And
it was incredible.
Did your mother shave your mother?
My mother got her head shaved. Before we shaved our heads, like a week before, we dyed our hair teal for my big appointment at Boston. My very first appointment in Boston, the three of us went in, my mom, me, and Betorah. My whole head was teal. My mom had stripes of teal, and Betorah's ends were all teal. And we went in, and I thought we were going to look like idiots and freaks, but so many people in Boston, Dana-Farber, have their hair different colors. So many people have their head shaved. So many people have scarves on their head. So we fit right in.
You felt very comfortable. Oh, that's great.
It was a very comfortable feeling.
Why, can I ask, why did they send you to Boston instead of to Dana-Farber here in Milford? Or were they just starting Dana-Farber here?
I'm not sure when Dana-Farber here started, but for a baseline PET scan, a baseline MRI, they wanted it done in Boston. And I was supposed to see a surgical doctor in Boston, and it ended up that my cancer was inoperable. Yeah. That's when she referred me out here to Dr. Sinclair.
Oh, okay.
And I've just been out here since.
Uh-huh. Well, as I understand it, that at Dana they have what they call tumor boards and group meetings that even this group here and that group all get together and discuss a case.
Right.
So you're getting the best treatment, and I think Dana-Farber is one of the best cancer places in the world.
Yeah,
So-
I think so too. Not
Yeah.
only because I helped my mom, but yeah.
And so let me ask you this. How can, so we want to talk more about your book. How can people purchase the book?
Well, it can be found on Amazon, which is the most easily accessible.
Uh-huh.
And I can't remember the other places, but you can buy it through the publishing company.
Okay. And how old were you when you wrote this?
I was 9 and I was in 3rd grade, and here I am, almost 13. I'm
Oh,
12 now.
She loves to say that.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm almost 13 in 6 months.
Yeah. It's only a few months
always.
now.
Always rounding up.
I remember when I was young, I rounded up. Now I round down.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, I say
And
I'm
so-
3. If anyone says, how old are you? I say I'm 3. Well, how are you 3? Well, 3 is my rebirth.
Oh, that's
3 years since I've been diagnosed. I'm 3 years old.
Oh, that's great. That's a great way to look at it. And I understand from you earlier that when you sell the book, you don't take any profit. You can tell me about your rocks and what you do with the.
Do you want me to explain it?
Yeah, it's easier.
Okay.
Betorah didn't write the book to make money.
Right.
She wrote the book for other kids to know that they weren't alone and that she was there with them through their journey, through whatever they had to go through with their parents, their loved ones. We were told by Exuberus that Betorah would make 50% profit on the book.
Mm-hmm.
It ended up 50% is $10, plus 50% of that, and then another 50%. So she only makes $2.22 per book.
Oh.
And we opened up a bank account for her, and they deposit her little $2.22 every time a book is sold from Amazon, a hard book. The digital books, she doesn't make any money on at all.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So her $2.22 added up, and we went to the bank and we took out $100 because that's all she made, and we purchased rocks, markers. We used the Posca paint pens,
Tons of different types of paints and pencils.
and we bought bracelets.
Oh.
We bought 100 bracelets that we got on wholesale for $66, and made a gift basket with rocks and bracelets and clothespins that she hook glued rocks onto. Because you never know what people want to use them for, a chip bag holder or.
Oh, what a
Paperweight.
What a great idea.
But she's had a great response with the rocks, and they're kindness rocks.
Yes, can you read a few of them for me? You want to hold them up and read them?
I'm gonna do this one. This is, this one, oh yeah, please hold this, thank you. This one says, cancer messed with the wrong chick with a teal ribbon, and it's a little chicken with the ribbon across its head, like,
We like
that's
chickens.
strong.
Oh, how
Yeah.
cute. Yeah. Okay, and what about one of the others?
Yeah, this one is a nurse's rock, which is basically made for all the nurses that
Treat,
that help
yeah, the
and treat,
nurses
yeah.
are amazing, aren't they?
They don't get enough recognition or credit.
No.
Yeah.
And same with the doctors as well. So, in caregivers especially. So, I said, why don't you make some caregiver rocks? Why don't we make some nurse rocks? Why don't we make some doctor rocks? And different ribbon rocks, because not all cancers is pink and not all cancer is teal or orange or
Right.
burgundy and white. Like my three,
Uh-huh.
teal and white, orange and burgundy and white. Those are my three ribbons that I carry.
Uh-huh.
So she did a lot of research, and she looked and printed out this big wheel of what ribbon and what color, and now she makes hundreds of rocks.
Hundreds a month.
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? You have a real talent for drawing. I'm sure you know that, but
Yeah, I
along
do.
with your talent for writing, because this little book is so sweet. It just tugs at your heart. When the part that really was when you were in the room, when you were first diagnosed and you went to the doctor and you heard the whispering. I mean, I don't know why, but it just, you thought that maybe your mother was going to have another child because you were at an OBGYN office.
Yeah.
And I thought, that is just so sweet and touching. The way you write tugs at your heartstring. It's just a beautifully, all your words and your description of when your mother was lying on the couch with the dog on her feet, wrapped
the
up in
cat.
a blanket,
Yeah.
the cat, I mean, wrapped up in the blankets, that, I mean, you could visualize. You have a real talent for writing. I hope you'll keep it up. Why don't you tell us about some of the people that you've sent the book to or you've had letters from? And you can hold those up. They can zoom in on them.
I have my favorite letter that I've received from the people I've sent it to, like Hillary Clinton, Robert Roberts. This is the letter from Robert Roberts.
Robin Roberts.
Yeah,
Oh.
Robin Roberts, right.
I get confused.
Yeah, that's okay. Robin Roberts, she's at ABC, and she had cancer. She had breast cancer, right?
Yeah.
And then it went into another type of cancer, and
Robin Roberts really played a big role for Betorah, because when I was going through radiation and laying in the machine,
yeah.
I would play that song by Martina McBride, I'm Gonna Love You Through It.
Uh-huh.
And they would play that over and over and over again for me, for my whole little 15 minutes that I was in the machine.
Right.
And Robin Roberts is in the Martina McBride's video.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Betorah found out, oh, she has breast cancer. Oh, her family loved her too. I'm going to send her a book and tell her to keep on fighting. So we did a lot of research, and we weren't quite sure where to mail it, but it did find her, and she did get it, and she wrote a beautiful letter back to Betorah.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. And so you also have been interviewed on a few
Newspapers.
newspapers?
Yeah, here. Yeah. So
And where were these? And who is in this picture? Is that your father?
no, that's Dr.
Oh, that's the doctor.
Dr. DG. Yeah.
Dr. Di Giovanni.
Uh-huh.
I've never been able to
And
pronounce his name.
And he's also in the
Me.
book.
oh yes,
mom.
I remember reading that name.
And this is me in front of my house holding my book for one of my very first times.
Yeah,
In front of the Tree of
This is a
Hope.
picture of the book when it first got released.
Published. Oh, released. Uh-huh.
And that's this is the bottle tree. We have a cancer tree of hope in our yard.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh,
Want me to
tell me
explain
about
about
that. I don't remember.
know
I
you want to
didn't read
explain
that in the book.
It's in the book. The bottle tree's in the book.
Oh, it is. I must
Yep.
have skipped over.
If you give
it.
me the book, I'll show you the page.
Oh, here.
Let's use this one so that one
Here.
doesn't fall over.
So we have this bottle tree in front of our house, and
Uh-huh.
it's bottles that we've collected, and people have donated to us.
Oh, that's right. I did. Yeah.
And we painted on different cancer ribbons. I would sit outside, sit on the front porch, all bundled up. and the neighbors would walk their dogs by, or just random people going by the house. They'd stop and they'd ask me about what is that? And there was empty bottles on it. And for every person that came by and told me their story and their journey,
We made them a ribbon and put it on the tree.
we honored them and made them a ribbon on a bottle and hung them on our tree of hope.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And that's how
lovely.
that came into.
Oh,
So we took, when her book first came out, we took it right in front of the actual tree of hope.
uh-huh.
And this still stands in our yard today.
It does?
And it lights up at night. We have the little lights, and it lights up at night so everybody can see it.
What a great story. Oh, you've done so many nice things. And making these ribbons and this for the people at Dana. So
Tell her what happened today
oh, what happened?
when the mailman came.
So today, I was given a package today, and
Get the card.
what really was most important and awesome is that one of the rock groups that we belong in sent me a gift, and it was a giant art kit, and they sent me this little card saying that to continue to paint rocks and to continue sharing my story.
Do you want to read it?
Yeah,
Wanna read the
don't
first?
you should read it.
Yeah, why don't you read it?
Sure. It says, Betorah, I recently read that you paint for patients and children at your local cancer center. I was touched by that because I believe in spreading kindness through art in the world. I paint rocks and love knowing people are smiling because it's something I enjoyed making. We are what I call kindness warriors in this world that isn't always a nice place. Keep doing what you do. The world needs a whole lot more of you in it. Thank you for sharing your gift with strangers who really need to smile. Here is something for you to help keep you painting and creating. And
Love, April.
yeah.
And she's the owner of one of the rock groups where Betorah would go through and she'd look at pictures and get inspiration and different ideas as to what to put on rocks. And the stuff is phenomenal.
Yeah.
What is the name of what are the rock groups?
The rock group is Posca Paint Addicts Group. Posca paint is the type of paint pens that we use.
Uh-huh.
It's non-toxic. Everything on the rocks are non-toxic.
Uh-huh.
So it's not hard on the environment, it's not bad for people, and
It practically lasts forever.
practically lasts forever.
Oh, that is wonderful.
And the
Now,
owner of the group
do the
sent her-
people ever donate back to Dana through this? Through the rocks that she gives to the patients.
Every now and then, somebody
People.
will post, like Betorah has her own Facebook page. It's called Betorah's Rocks.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, let's.
She started her own Facebook page about 6 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
Before we were painting with a different group and putting their name on the rocks. And every now and then, somebody will post a picture on the rock group saying, look what I found. Oh, I needed this today. I mean, wonderful things. We painted a bunch of rocks for Dr. McAmey at Dana-Farber. He wanted rocks to bring back to Boston because I don't go to Boston a lot. But when I do, I bring 100 rocks with me.
Oh, wow.
Because the
'cause
building's so big.
It's so big.
I know.
It's so big. So Dr. McAmey also sent, and I forgot to bring that little card that he sent, a wonderful card, saying thank you for the wonderful rocks and thank you for the inspiration and hope that you're giving the patients at Dana-Farber.
I think that is absolutely wonderful because that's the one thing people need that when they're going through cancer is hope. Because hope, I think, is a big part of the healing process. I don't know how you feel, but I feel that it really, that feeling that you have hope helps people get well. And that is so wonderful. So now, do you have other siblings? Do any of them, your other siblings have this creative bent that you have?
Not all of them, but they do have some creativity in their certain ways.
but they don't. None of them do. This is so. Where are you?
This is a Betorah thing.
Yeah. When are you? Where are you in the birth order of your family?
I'm fourth.
You're fourth.
Yeah.
So out of 5 or 4?
Out of five.
Out of 5. So okay. They always say the middle child seems to do more, but that's wonderful. All the things that you've done. Is there anything that I have missed asking you? Oh, I was going to have you read whatever special page, whatever other than that you'd like to read in your book. If there's something special for this interview.
Let's see. Here's my favorite part where they're shaving heads.
Okay.
It says, I get busy making signs to cheer Mommy on. Go Team Teal. Hope, love, hope, believe. I draw cancer ribbons, teal and white, orange, and white with a burgundy stripe, hanging them all over the fridge. You can do this! My mommy doesn't just have 1 ribbon, she has 3. It is time to tell the rest of the family. Grammy invited everyone over for a head shaving party. Grammy shaves her head. Woohoo! Go, Gram! Uncle Ricky shaves his head. Go, Ricky! We give Mommy a mohawk. It takes 3 of us taking turns on shaving to get this thing stand up. A whole bottle of gel and hairspray, and it still won't stand. Daddy had to fix it. He is the master of mohawks because he had one when he was younger. Daddy rocks.
Oh, Daddy rocks! I love that. Yeah, that's beautiful. I thought that was a very touching part of your book.
Well, I kept telling her, I said, because she, out of all the kids, she struggled the most.
Yeah.
And I said, why don't you be like Taylor Swift? She sings about what's going on with her life. She sings about how she feels, and it helps her heal and helps her cope. I said, you can be the Taylor Swift
Of the writing industry.
of the writing industry.
That's a great thing to end on. So I really enjoyed your interview, and let's hope that maybe through this interview we can get other people to purchase your book. I think it would be nice if your book was available to all parents who go through cancer.
We are having a hard time doing that because they won't give a discount.
Yeah.
If we found somebody else, another publisher, that was willing to pick the book up, they would be able to offer it to the cancer institutes at their price.
Right. Well, let's hope that maybe by putting this up on YouTube and getting information out to other people, maybe we can start a movement to get your book, because your book
We
is
started a
really-
kindness revolution.
revolution.
Let's start a book. Betorah has another book that she's written as well.
Yeah.
Oh, you have? What is it about?
It's about bullying, and because I was bullied a couple years back, and I ended up getting very hurt. I'm not going to say any spoilers, though.
She's not going to say any spoilers.
Oh.
But again,
Okay.
with the process, if we had a different publisher, the
Right.
bullying book would also be out. But right now it's just on hold.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. This has been a very exciting interview, and I hope that through this interview we'll be able to get something out on YouTube and get help for this book so that we can find a way to get more people to buy it so every person can have one for their child.
Yes.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure meeting
Thank you.
Pleasure
Thank
meeting
you.
you too.
Tell me what you like, what you want from me. If it's on tonight, oh yeah. I just wanna know